A Russian court has found 3 members of the feminist punk rock band Pussy Riot guilty of hooliganism. The 3 women have been in jail for 5 months after conducting a protest inside a cathedral against President Vladimir Putin. Moscow correspondent Norman Hammond is outside the court. Norm, we know what the verdict is, that is guilty. Do we know any more about the sentence?
We don't know, and that's what everyone is waiting to find out. Right now, we believe the judge is reading the legal reasonings behind this verdict into the court record. When that is finished, and we don't know how long that will be, then there will be the revelation of the sentence. And of course, that is what could really set off a reaction here to the hundreds of supporters and opponents of Pussy Riot who are outside this courtroom.
Can you tell us anything more about what the judge has said in her summing up so far?
Well, what we know is that she said that when Pussy Riot went into this Church of Christ the Savior in February and performed a so-called punk prayer that basically asked the Virgin Mother to cast Vladimir Putin out, the judge said this was a deliberate, planned act, that Pussy Riot had intended to go to the church. They were in the church for the political impact, and therefore that degree of premeditation could very well play into the sentence they received.
Norm, I've just seen a tweet that Garry Kasparov, the former chess champion turned political activist, has been arrested outside the court. What can you tell us about the protests so far outside the court?
Well, there's a lot of scuffling and protesting going on outside the court. Certainly not thousands, but several hundred, maybe 1,000 people are here. What's interesting is they're pretty much evenly divided between those who are supporting the band and the band members and those who really are here supporting the Russian Orthodox Church. There's been a lot of people here singing, performing prayers, basically pleading with the judge to deliver a heavy sentence to the band members, and those are supporters of the Russian Orthodox Church. That shows you the divisiveness that this case has had in Russia.
Norm, this case has certainly shone a light on Russia and freedom of speech and the right to protest in that country under Vladimir Putin. What does it tell us about the role of dissidents and how much they can speak out at the moment in Russia?
Well, that's a complicated question. Surely here in Moscow and St. Petersburg, which is really the center of this sort of liberal democratic protest movement that we've seen in Russia, there's overwhelming support for Pussy Riot and what they did, and most people accept that it really was a political act. After all, the prayer they performed was in protest of the growing ties between the Russian Orthodox Church and Vladimir Putin. Patriarch Kirill of the Russian Orthodox Church had in fact urged people to consider voting for Vladimir Putin. They're considered to be very close. But of course, in the rest of Russia, and the many people here, there's a lot of people who are offended that this very holy site for the Russian Orthodox Church, for Russian Orthodox believers, was essentially, in their words, defiled by this stunt by this band Pussy Riot. So really, there's a lot of division over how people see this case. It's certainly not as clear-cut as it is in the West, for example.
Norman Hammond, we'll have to leave it there. We'll come back to you if there's any developments with the sentence during the program.